So good morning and welcome to our 9th annual Family Forum. It's really incredible to see everyone here today after the big Jays win last night. For those who, woo! We won't talk about the Leafs or the Raptors. Those are different conversations, but the Jays win was fantastic. For those of you not from Toronto, it's a pretty lively down here, which is fantastic. And again, welcome and thanks for coming. So I'm Brian Atkinson. I am the board chair of Defeat Duchenne Canada, and I'm happy to have you all here today, whether in the room or online. And we're going to take a moment to read the land acknowledgement. Defeat Duchenne Canada's staff, operations, work, and network depend on traditional Indigenous territories to provide us physical space, sustenance, safety, and community to work, live, and play. We acknowledge the land we are meeting on today as a traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabeg, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples. It is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. This land continues to be the home of diverse Indigenous people whom we recognize as contemporary stewards of the land and vital contributors to society. We express much gratitude towards the Indigenous peoples who have and will continue to steward these lands. So everyone, again, welcome. Thank you for coming today. And this session is in partnership with Holland, Bloorview and the Hospital for Sick Children for our 9th annual Family Forum. As I said, I'm Brian Atkinson, the Defeat Duchenne Canada board chair, and unfortunately for you, I'm the MC this weekend. We're excited to host this year's Family Forum, both in person in Toronto and online. And we want to welcome everyone in the room and people that are online, and thank you for joining. We're also very excited to be celebrating our 30th anniversary. So let's take a moment for a round of applause for that. It feels very special today to have the anniversary and to also have the children's room. It's incredible in there. If you haven't been over there, go take a look. A lot of great programming. So it feels like a big community. It's fantastic. It's very heartwarming. This is a big milestone for our organization, and we're recognizing it this year and today. A bit more on that later. Just a hint, there may be some cake. You'll see. But you'll notice that the other milestones that we're celebrating this weekend, which are important family milestones, they'll be rotating at the beginning and end of each day on the screens. So please take a moment to read through some of these incredible milestones and stories. It's a great reminder that every success is one that is community-based and family-based, and we can stand behind. So next, let's talk about this incredible FeedLoop mobile app. So if you're joining us online, that means you're successfully accessed the app. Congratulations, and you're streaming on the app right now, or you've downloaded it to your desktop on FeedLoop. And for those in the room, you're not excluded. We encourage you also to download the FeedLoop app. There's the QR code. You can go to the app and you can join in with the folks online and make it a real community experience. Open the app and sign in with the same email that you registered for today with. Once you sign in, you should see the Family Forum event under My Events. But if you have difficulty, just check in with Bobby. Bobby's in the back. Hey, Bobby. And she will be happy to help you at the break. I really encourage all of us to try to come together as a community, whether in the room or online, and join in on the conversations. So through FeedLoop, you'll be able to do some pretty cool things. You can add questions in the Q&A sessions for the speakers to respond to. You can participate in sharing the discussion boards and chat, whether in the room or online or both. And you can create one-on-one conversations through a direct messaging tool. So again, our goal is to really build a sense of community this weekend and always. If you have any questions for us, for a speaker, the folks in the room in person can just raise your hand, the old-fashioned way, or Nikki or Scott. Nikki or Scott are here. There you are. I don't know where Scott is. But Nikki over here, all on you, Nikki, right now, will come to you with the microphone to take your question. Alternatively, you can write your question in the session chat on FeedLoop, and we'll make sure that your question gets addressed. Now on to social media. If you're on social media, we encourage you to follow, like, and share throughout the weekend. You can find us on Facebook, X, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube at Defeat Duchenne. Next, our partners. This could not have happened this weekend without our fantastic partners. So for every Family Forum, we partner with leading neuromuscular centers to help create and deliver the educational events we're going to experience this weekend. This year, we want to say a special thank you to Holland Bloorview, Kids Rehabilitation Hospital, and Hospital for Sick Children. Specifically, we'd like to thank Dr. Laura McAdams. Laura, where are you? There you over there. Thank you, Laura. Woo! And Dr. Gornofsky. Where's Dr. Gornofsky? I saw him earlier. There he is over there. Thank you. You've both been incredible supports to help us pull this weekend together. So Dr. Laura McAdam is the Physician Director of Ambulatory Care at the Holland Bloorview Kids Rehabilitation Hospital, Associate Professor, Department of Pediatrics, Chemistry Faculty of Medicine, University of Toronto, and is a clinician investigator at the Bloorview Research Institute. She has led the multidisciplinary neuromuscular rehabilitation clinic at Holland Bloorview for 18 incredible years. Dr. McAdam's research focuses on three main areas: enhancing care for children with neuromuscular conditions, focusing on DMD, advancing rehabilitation for children with neuromuscular conditions, and understanding the broader physiological impact of living with a rare disease. Dr. Hernan Gornofsky, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Sort of? Okay. We talk on break, sorry. Dr. Gornofsky led the development of a pediatric neuromuscular fellowship at the University of Toronto and a national neuromuscular program for the training of neurologists, bridging the gap between adult and pediatric neuromuscular training. Dr. Gornofsky is currently the Director of Neuromuscular Fellowship Program at the Hospital for Sick Children in the Division of Neurology, as well as the Associate Professor within the Faculty of Medicine at the University of Toronto. His work focuses on translational and clinical research with special interest in spinal muscular atrophy and congenital myopathy. Please join me in giving these two incredible volunteers and humans a great round of applause for making this year's Family Forum possible. Now, on to our sponsors. Again, we could not do this incredible weekend without our fantastic sponsors. So our gold sponsor is Key Pharmaceuticals. Our silver sponsors are Avidity Biosciences, Dyne Therapeutics, Edwise Therapeutics, PepGen, Pfizer, PTC Therapeutics, RegenX Bio, Roche, Solid Biosciences, and Wave Life Sciences. And our bronze sponsors are BioMarin, Altel Pharmaco, NS Pharma, and Sarepta Therapeutics. Again, let's give them a round of applause for their support, please. We'd also like to take a moment to highlight our keynote speaker and research exhibit sponsor, Satellos Biosciences, as well as our print sponsor, M&T Printing. And finally, a special and heartfelt thank you to the I Have Resolve Foundation, Jack and Barbara Hayes Foundation, and other anonymous sponsors who made today possible. Again, without our great sponsorships, we would not be able to do events like this. We encourage you to get to know our sponsors by viewing their sponsor profile on FeedLoop, meeting them at the Research and Science exhibition, and tuning in during their research update sessions. Okay, on to the agenda. So for a quick glance at our jam-packed, impactful agenda, there's in your bags. You can also pull them out of your bags if you want to have a look. But this has been all helped make possible this weekend for the agenda. Please note there's one minor change with the session adjusting to a new diagnosis. We moved this session till after the coffee break. We're going to be hearing from a lot of individuals today, including clinicians who will be speaking on different areas of care, our great sponsors who will be covering their latest research, and our fantastic family members who will be opening their hearts and sharing their personal experiences. We hope you will enjoy every minute, and we want to hear your thoughts on this year's event and any ideas for years to come. So please be sure to complete our evaluation form, which will be open throughout the weekend. It is accessible in the announcements section on FeedLoop and will be emailed after our event. So on to the fun stuff, the Kids and Teen Zone. I want to hang out there. Has anyone been over there yet? It's pretty incredible to see all the kids in there. It's very heartwarming. We hope that your kids and teens are also enjoying an action-packed day and making new friends in the Kid and Teen Zone, being led by our experienced therapeutic recreationists and a youth facilitator from Holland Bloorview, as well as therapeutic recreationists from McCormick Day program, and a certified teacher with experience in both junior and senior kindergarten and early childhood education. There's also a PSW on hand for support. If there are any youth who have arrived late, you can go ahead and join the group now, just in the room down the hall. You'll hear them as you get closer. Parents and guardians, please pick up your kiddos on the way to the exhibit room during the breaks. So we'll give the team there working a break also. And there'll be lots of snacks. And please reconnect with them, and they can head back to their scheduled programming after each of our breaks. Okay, so on to this incredible team. So I just want to take a moment to recognize the team. Nicola Worsfold, our executive director. Woo. Rochelle Tenahalf over there, marketing, our chief marketing person, guru, and Bobby, our marketing guru, is over there. Jordan Hamilton, I think Jordan's up at the desk helping. I can see him. Thank you, Jordan. William Marchand, you're sitting. I can't believe it, William. You've been running around all morning. And Rafaela Fernandez, who's at the registration desk. Hey, Rafaela, she's out there. This team has put in countless hours, creativity, and ideas to this fantastic event, and it wouldn't be done without them. Can't thank them enough, really. It's incredible. And Nicola, thank you for your leadership to help us with this. And William, thank you for the great idea for the teen zone and the programming. It's really impactful. So I just want to take a moment to give this awesome team of ours a big round of applause, please. Woo! Now on to Nicola. So welcome, Nicola. Nicola's not a stranger to you, I'm sure. Nicola is our new executive director, but she's not new to Defeat Duchenne. Nicola was the National Vice President of Research, Education, Advocacy with Defeat Duchenne Canada. She has 15 plus years of career in science, advocacy, strategic leadership. She has a ton of passion, which is contagious. She's also a Duchenne parent with an incredible young man, Owen. So Nicola's always been connected through the community, both with North America and internationally, and she's participated in many conferences and speaking engagements at national and international rare disease conferences. I've had the great pleasure of working with Nicola probably for the last 5 months, as Nicola came in to help us in the interim, and then as we went through the recruiting process for an executive director. She's full of energy and passion, and she's very committed to help us with our mission to defeat Duchenne. And I'm very happy that Nicola's here today as our executive director. Congratulations, Nicola. Okay, come on up, Nicola. I think you're next on deck. Over to you.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Really great to see everyone here today. It's good to see some familiar faces. It's good to see some new faces. So really, really great. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Brian. I also want to take a moment to thank him for his leadership and dedication to this organization as he stepped in as interim executive director while we were going through some transition. So not only is he the chairman of our board, but he stepped in as ED, and then he also has another day job. So thank you, Brian. We really appreciate that. And I know that our team really appreciates it too, so thank you. And I'm very honored and excited to be back here at Defeat Duchenne Canada. And I'm also excited that we are launching our 9th annual Family Forum in our 30th anniversary year, which is pretty incredible. So it's exciting, lots to celebrate. And it's also in my hometown of Toronto, which is really awesome, and in partnership with 2 globally recognized leading pediatric centers in healthcare, research, and rehabilitation, and that's the SickKids Hospital and Holland Bloorview Kids Rehab Hospital, which also happen to be the 2 hospitals that our family and my son have been a client of for 12 years. So this is wonderful. I'm really glad to see a lot of familiar healthcare provider faces here as well. So it truly does feel like a family. I would also like to give a shout out to all the families that are with us online. And I thought it might be fun, Bobby, if folks online want to type in the chat where they're from or what city they're from, that maybe Bobby can yell out some cities that are joining us online would be kind of cool. And while she's doing that, and while you're typing your name in the chat, I know that we have families joining us in the room from coast to coast. So thank you to all of you who have traveled far to be here. We really do appreciate it. And I really hope that you all have time to connect and meet lots of new people while you're here. So any names, Bobby? Or any cities coming through? Do we have a mic? No?
Testing. Okay. We have Gatineau, Quebec. We had Japan as well.
Wow.
Arrowwood, Alberta.
Couple more
Quebec.
coming in. Well,
Yeah.
as the day goes on, please let us know where you're coming from, and thank you all for joining us. So we have a lot of exciting activities planned for you today, and before we get started, I want to talk a little bit about the organization. For those of you that are new to the organization, I would like to personally welcome you and share a bit about who we are and how we support our families and our community. So Defeat Duchenne Canada is Canada's only national charity solely dedicated to ending Duchenne muscular dystrophy, and our vision is a future without Duchenne. Defeat Duchenne Canada has prioritized our work in 4 strategic pillars. Our first goal is to invest in groundbreaking science focused on finding and advancing treatments and care for individuals living with Duchenne. Since 1995, we have funded over $18 million has gone towards research, which is pretty incredible. And I can tell you this, we will not stop until we find a cure or we find those treatments that are going to be safe and will have a lasting impact on disease progression. We have many of our researchers joining us here today, and if you notice, a lot of folks have a color bar on their name tag. So if you see somebody wearing a purple bar on their name tag, they're a researcher, and I really welcome you all to please go and speak to these researchers, ask lots of questions, and most importantly, talk about what matters to you most as families living with Duchenne. We also have our farmer sponsors, and they're all happening in the exhibit area, and I encourage you all to do the same. But these treatments aren't going to be good to us unless we can get access to them. So Defeat Duchenne Canada, we're ramping up our advocacy efforts to ensure that we have timely, equitable, and affordable access to these treatments and care. October 2nd of this year marked a very important milestone for our community when we celebrated the approval of our very first treatment in Canada, which is amazing. We've been waiting for this for a very long time. But this is only the beginning, right? So stay tuned with us tomorrow because we will be discussing a lot more about our advocacy and about the treatment process and the access process, but most importantly also about how all of your voices are critical to the work that we do. And as I mentioned earlier, this is our 9th annual National Family Forum, and we understand the power of knowledge at all stages of this disease. And we remain committed to bringing you the latest information on research, care, and support programs to our families. And this weekend is going to be a major download of a lot of information. Over the next 2 days, it's going to be intense, but don't feel pressured to absorb it all. So take what you can from it, and know that all of this information is going to be made available to you after this forum as well. So please enjoy. The purpose of this too is really to connect. So I want you to think about that. Most importantly, I want you all to use this time you have to engage and connect with your community. We have some incredible healthcare providers here, and they may not be your healthcare provider, but they are very knowledgeable, and they have volunteered their time to be here this weekend for you. And we have an amazing community of families, healthcare professionals, researchers, and industry partners all here for you. So get to know them, identify who you are, and speak to them. And get to know them, get to know the work they're doing, and understand what's happening in the world of Duchenne. Defeat Duchenne Canada is a family of families, And we really encourage you to also get to know your Defeat Duchenne Canada family, which, as Brian had introduced, are staff members who have been working very, very, very hard behind the scenes to make this program happen. But also we have a lot of volunteers here that have been helping us today. So please make sure you go and say hello to our staff and our volunteers and thank them for their time this weekend. So without further ado, we've been talking way too much, and we want to get John Davidson up here, who is our very first speaker. And this year marks a truly special milestone for Defeat Duchenne Canada, formerly known as Jesse's Journey, as we're celebrating our 30 years since John, Jesse, and the Davidson family founded this organization. And what began as a dad's single act of love of his son has grown into a national movement, uniting families, researchers, clinicians, and advocates across Canada and the globe. John's vision and perseverance laid the foundation for everything that we do today. A community driven by hope and the belief that a future without Duchenne is possible. So please join me in welcoming John Davidson, co-founder of Jesse's Journey and board director of Defeat Duchenne Canada.
Thank you, Nicola, and good morning, everyone. In light of last night's ball game, all of you joining us across Canada and all the way to Japan, a very good baseball country, I want you to know that you are probably among the earliest risers in Canada this morning. And I also want you to know that there really aren't words to express the gratitude and the thanks that Shireen and I and our sons Tyler and Tim and their partners, Nikki and Rosie, feel toward all of you for having made this all possible today. So I just want to take a little bit of a glance back at what seemed like a very simple idea way back when I said the words, Jesse, I've got this idea in mind. And one thing after another continued to unfold until we arrived here today. And everyone here shares a common bond in our collective tireless effort to create a world without Duchenne. Every story has a beginning, and for all of us, the story begins with the youngsters who show us each and every day what real courage is all about. In our family, the story and the start of our journey began with our middle son, Jesse, who was diagnosed with Duchenne when he was 6 years old. We can all remember the day that our world flipped upside down. After the shock waves, we are faced with a new reality. Our lives have changed, and our priorities in life have been rearranged. It was about that time that I asked myself, how does our buying another wheelchair help solve this problem? And the answer was, it doesn't. That was when I shifted my focus to the need for research, and it didn't take me long to find out that there was very little happening in the way of research in Duchenne muscular dystrophy. One thing that I did know is that research is expensive. And at the same time, as a family, we made the commitment that we were in for the long haul, however long that was going to take. We also knew that we needed to do something pretty big. We had to do something that would capture people's attention and kickstart our ability to raise money in order to fund research. At the same time, we had to do our best to ignite a fire within the research community to work on Duchenne, which was receiving at that time very little attention. And so we set out in the summer of 1995, a father and son together. The goal was to push Jesse across Ontario in his wheelchair to raise money for research and to put Duchenne muscular dystrophy firmly in the public eye. We began on a cold day in May at the Ontario border with Manitoba, and then spent most of the next 5 months, 124 days on the road together before reaching Ottawa. We averaged 30 kilometers a day, and slowly, what had by then come to be known as Jesse's Journey began to take hold and to capture the hearts of people across Ontario and beyond. And slowly, very slowly, the money began to arrive. It's worth noting here that in our journey across Ontario and my walk across Canada 3 years later, we did not have a website on either journey. The only way to make a donation was with the old-fashioned method of a check, an envelope, and a stamp, assuming you could find our address in London or come to the side of the road. And thousands of people did exactly that. With the Ontario Provincial Police and Municipal Police forces now escorting us, what began as a small groundswell was beginning to grow into what I referred to as organized chaos each and every day. Still on those long, lonely days in Northern Ontario where the hills were big and the donations were small, we didn't really know what lay ahead for us. We just kept on pushing day after day and hoping that somewhere there were people who cared about what we were doing. And care they did. And they are still out there today. They are still out there waiting and wanting to lend a hand. They're waiting to be asked. By the time we reached southwestern Ontario, it seemed like everybody wanted to be a part of Jesse's journey. And we learned very, very quickly that when you are passionate about what you are doing, people will respond. And the more passionate you are, the more people will want to lend a hand, and the more they will take part in everything it is that you want to do to improve the lives of children. And that's when the opportunities to send a message about the need for research began to explode. Every day we pushed on another 30 kilometers. And now every day people wanted to know more and more about a disease they had never heard of. And we were happy with our limited knowledge at that time to share all we could about the disease and about the incredible need for research. What began as a father and son alone on the road had now grown into a daily frenzy, and Duchenne muscular dystrophy was now certainly on people's radar. At that time, 1995 was the hottest summer on record, and still we pushed on. We found the heart and soul of Ontario in the small towns that we passed through, from Dryden and Elliott Lake in northern Ontario to Bracebridge and Huntsville in the Muskokas, and down the shoreline of Lake Huron to Kincardine, Grand Bend, Sarnia, and Windsor, before turning at Windsor and heading east through Chatham, London, Kitchener, Oshawa, and on to Belleville and Kingston before turning north to Smith Falls and Ottawa. Passing through Toronto, Jesse's journey had reached a national news story status. And Jesse was recognized at Skydome, where that great ball game happened last night. And he would be recognized again a few weeks later as we were at Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto to welcome another hockey season. And I will always remember Doug Gilmore, the Leafs captain, leaning in at this ceremonial face-off and saying to us, "You guys are doing a really great thing." By the time we reached Ottawa, a lot more people now knew about Duchenne muscular dystrophy, and research was picking up thanks to an injection of research dollars made possible through the generosity of moms and dads and kids all across Ontario and beyond. These were the people who understood just what Jesse and I were trying to do, and they responded as Canadians always do. Politicians across the province and even the Prime Minister of Canada wanted to be a part of the story. It was late September, and after 124 days on the road, we had reached the nation's capital, Ottawa. Jesse then went back to school, and I went back to daydreaming. And I began to think about what more we could do. We all know that when you have a goal in mind, you have to start somewhere. And in April of 1998, on an early morning, a cold morning, in a little place called Kitty-Vitty, Newfoundland, on Canada's extreme east coast, and at the age of 52, I set out to walk across Canada. I remember looking out at the Atlantic Ocean on that cold morning, and I was thinking to myself, you know, it is closer to Ireland than it is to Vancouver. What am I doing here? But I wasn't worried because Jesse had taught me about perseverance and grit, and just what those two commodities are all about. My daily distance on the road was 33 kilometers, and that's what I did for the next 286 days in a row. Again, Canadians, particularly in small-town Canada, responded, but not every day was pretty. Maybe next year we'll have time for the whole story and we'll travel across Canada together. But here's just a little preview. This was day number 225 on the Trans-Canada Highway nearing the Saskatchewan-Alberta border. It was minus 28. The wind was blowing across the Trans-Canada, and it was the only day in that entire journey that not one car stopped to make a donation. Still, I pushed on until I reached the Pacific Ocean in Victoria, British Columbia. And in the years that followed our time on the road, Jesse's journey grew from one family in one province to hundreds of families all across Canada and beyond. We are now firmly established, and the global research community looks to Defeat Duchenne Canada for leadership in funding research and advocating on behalf of those with Duchenne muscular dystrophy. Our strength is in our numbers, and you will hear this many times today, as you already have. We view Defeat Duchenne Canada as a family of families whose dedication to our children is beyond measure. You are the people in this room and the people who are joining us across the country and elsewhere, and again, as far away as Japan. I was very encouraged to hear that this morning. You are the people to whom the torch has been passed in order for us to continue the journey on the road to a cure. When Jesse and I took those first steps 30 years ago, there were no drugs for boys with Duchenne in Canada. Late last month, Health Canada approved Agamree, the first treatment for boys and young men in Canada with Duchenne muscular dystrophy. This is a drug that Defeat Duchenne Canada invested in 4 years ago to help make this possible. It came to Health Canada thanks to the hard work of the team at Kai Pharmaceuticals here in Toronto. We all see this as wonderful news, but this is just the beginning of the next journey to make that drug and others that will follow available to every Duchenne family from coast to coast to coast. Under the direction of our new, and I'm proud to say, highly energized Executive Director, Nicola Worsfold, we are taking those first next steps. Our Board of Directors has representatives from the financial sector, the investment sector, legal counsel, and researchers, and includes a brilliant young man, Eric Morden, who I've known since he was about that big, a young man with Duchenne muscular dystrophy. I would like you to know that our board is also made up of parents who are directly linked to 10 young men with Duchenne. You would be hard-pressed to find a harder working and more dedicated group of people than the board, staff, and the leadership team at Defeat Duchenne Canada. Over the next 2 days, we begin laying out the blueprint for what comes next. You are the people. You are the people in this room and online with us today who are going to make this possible as we piece together that blueprint and turn it into an action plan. Defeat Duchenne Canada is indeed a family of families, and together we are going to do what I felt 30 years ago was what dads and moms are supposed to do. Do everything you can. Do everything you can to make sure that you provide your children with the best possible quality of life. Do your best and never give up. Thank you all very much.
Thank you so much, John. I always find your talks so inspiring, and I really, really appreciate it. Your vision and leadership continue to remind us all of why we were here, to support one another and to find strength in our shared experiences, and to never face challenges alone. And I'm deeply grateful for all that you have built and for continuing to inspire us to carry your vision forward. So thank you.